Hey everybody, just a little update. I recently finished moving and getting some new stuff to help me record, so that's why this video is a little late, because it's been a tough time actually getting down to work. But now I'm back and I have a quick announcement for you. I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch and YouTube with my girlfriend at about 4 p.m. Central Time on Fridays, link in the description below. The first games we'll be streaming are the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, as my girlfriend has never finished the series before, and I think it would be a cool way for her to either get into the series as much as I am, or for her to provide her...
Gotta check to see if those avocados are ripe!
Ah, nice!
unique commentary. And I hope to see you guys there when it happens. What's going on, Roundtable? My name is Excaliber596, and I am finding it very hard to convince myself that the PS2 was not a console for furries.
Will you marry me?
Well, you've obviously had an exhausting trip. Why don't you stop by your quarters?
I don't like where this is going.
No! You're such an animal.
That's right, on today's episode of How Long Will This Take to Get Out, and to celebrate the announcement of the Ratchet & Clank game coming to the new system from...
You said tech has its limits. Wrong. There are no limits when you're as brilliant as Seto Kaiba. I have never settled for mediocrity as an acceptable standard, and neither should you.
We're going to be talking about a battle royale between the iconic mascots of ye olde PS2. We've got Ratchet & Clank's Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter's Jak and Daxter, and Sly Cooper. So, if you watched my last video about Devil May Cry's Dante versus Legend of Zelda's Link, which you totally should, by the way, you should know the rules to these fights already, but for anybody who doesn't know, here's the basic rundown. 2 rounds, one kind of equalized and one not. No outside help unless you always got your furry friend on your shoulder. No drugs. You can win if you yeet your opponent out of an alternate dimension. And finally, each character's gotten himself that sparkly 100% platinum trophy with no cheat codes. We good? Alright, let's start this off before that Sly Cooper movie gets finished. Burn.
Hey, nefarious! What? Meet the Omni Wrench.
When it comes to attack potency, these duels of destruction have always found a way to save their respective worlds and wreak some serious havoc doing it. Starting with the Dark and Light Brigade, because I'm biased, Jak alone has saved the world from destruction multiple times throughout his journey using his unique ability to channel Eco, the ancient lifeblood of the Jak and Daxter world created by the precursors that grant certain abilities depending on the color. Blue Eco is like coffee on steroids, Red Eco is steroids.
Yeah, nice pics.
Yellow Eco throws in a Street Fighter reference, Green Eco heals the boo-boos, Light Eco does whatever the hell it wants, and Dark Eco makes everyone edgy.
You have a habit of leaving people to die, don't you? You get used to it.
That's fucking metal as fuck, dude!
His best feat comes from Jak and Daxter, the game that shall not be named. In said game, Jak is able to take on Dark Warrior Skyheat, a freaking massive chad of a Dark Eco mutant capable of throwing entire planes like it's nothing.
Plane. He threw a plane at us. At me!
This would put Jak at about large building levels of attack potency in base. Jak also has the ability to transform into 2 different Eco-based forms, one based on Light Eco and one based on Dark. Funnily enough, it's actually Light Eco that has shown the best feats of the 2. In the first Jak and Daxter game, coming into contact with Light Eco allowed a pre-time-skip Jak to be able to practically one-shot a giant precursor robot made from precursor metal. Something that has only ever been destroyed again in Jak 3 through the use of 3 massive carts of TNT being dropped on it, putting Light Jak and subsequently Dark Jak at levels of attack potency able to take out entire city blocks. Some fans believe this was done through a different eco type called White Eco rather than Light Eco, but that's actually a misconception brought about by Gaul's edgy Dark Eco voice.
Light Eco! It does exist!
Light Eco!
In reality, they're the exact same substance. Moving on to Ratchet.
No!
The fuck?
Hey, what am I, chub liver?
Oh, my bad. I forgot to cover the other fuzzball in this fight.
The Daxtinator is in the building.
Now, despite his lanky appearance, Jak's partner in crime,
Orange lightning.
aka
Rat boy.
aka Daxter, is much more than just some otter weasel creature. He's actually Jak's childhood friend that turned into one of the legendary precursors. Basically a race of eco-Jesuses. Jesus? Yeah, let's go with that. Being a Jeezit grants Daxter special privileges in the Jak and Daxter world, like pants, and what else? Oh yeah, the ability to turn into a hulking dark eco-monster with an insatiable appetite. Even though he should have turned into a Darkmaker, you piece of shit! While base Daxter is only useful for perhaps using one of Jak's multitude of weapons, Dark Daxter is extremely powerful. Being able to manifest in places that Dark Jak can't, throw dark fireballs, and the ability to spin like Crash Bandicoot on speed, he's likely an equal to Dark Jak, if not his superior, putting Dark Daxter at least city block to multi-city block ranges of attack potency. Now, some Jak and Daxter fans are gonna have some contention with this, as Jak and Daxter have faced many planetary threats like the Precursor Stone and the Darkmakers. The problem is that they don't necessarily scale directly to those threats, as circumstances have always made it so Jak and Daxter have never had to face them head-on. While the Precursor Stone was the life energy of a Precursor that had planetary potential, and Jak scales above the Precursors, the energy most likely attributes to the Precursor's agelessness rather than their power, as even the Precursors themselves have raised questions on their abilities.
Do not let our size fool you. We are the most powerful beings in the universe.
We are?
And while the Darkmaker ship's cargo also showed planetary potential, Jak and Daxter only took on a single Darkmaker terraformer with both a car and exclusively hitting its weak points to damage it. This is a comparatively small portion of the Darkmaker's total cargo, meaning that Jak has never taken on planetary opponents. So to anyone who believes that Jak is planetary in base, cause I know I'm gonna get those comments, there's my explanation as to why he's not. Moving on to the Secret Agent and his squishy sidekick, Clank and Ratchet have had their fair share of adventures. Saving the galaxy, traversing through time, and finding lost families in this epic romantic action comedy space up. Ugh. Here we go. Alright. I told you, Gadgetron guys, I didn't want no crotchetizer. What? What do you mean there was a reboot? Well, I'm gonna go pre-reboot if that's cool. Pretty sure the developer said it was just Captain Quark's story anyway. I don't care if he was a former president. What kind of standard is that these days? What's that? I'm dragging this bit out too long? Alright then. See you at Thanksgiving, ship.
No prison can hold ship Helix.
Wrong number. So, with all the adventures that Ratchet and Clank have had, you'd expect the duo to have a lot of crazy weapons, right? Well, surprisingly that's not true, because the word a lot
doesn't begin
to cover it!
Holy shit! I spent an entire day categorizing these weapons with Roundtable member Balrog Blaze, and if I were to list all of them, it would take hours! Now, of course, he's got his handy-dandy Omni Wrench, the Obsidian Blade X, made with vorpal matter from inside a black hole just for melee combat. But he also has
Thundersmack, 2 blades, beam-line, plasma slayer, tool raptors, multi-star, acid detonator, warmonger, dynamite, anti-matter rifle, star cannon, incinerator, rip river, supernova. Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all.
Shit! But out of all of these weapons, the most powerful of them has to be the fully upgraded Rip You a New One 7 Extreme! Also known as the Rhino 7X. This version of the Rhino is a twice upgraded version of the Rhino 5 from A Crack in Time, which was stated to be the most powerful weapon in the known universe. This would include the likes of Chairman Drek's planet-destroying deplanetizer from the first game, and Clunk's galaxy-destroying laser from Secret Agent Clank, putting Ratchet with his most powerful weapons anywhere from multi-solar system level to galaxy levels of attack potency. Now, this all depends on whether or not you consider Secret Agent Clank canon to the timeline, as Secret Agent Clank has been stated to be a television show in the Ratchet & Clank universe.
Guys! Squishy lot!
Oh, Len, I can't. It's not right.
You're my cousin's uncle's son.
I personally believe it is, based on the amount of canon material found within the game, like Ratchet being considered a famous hero, Clunk returning from up your arsenal, and Captain Quark being Captain Quark.
The magnitudinal quantification on the vertex of an ellipse.
That doesn't make any sense.
Were you there, nerdo? I didn't think so.
But I can understand the idea of these characters being some kind of guest stars, considering Clank has amassed fame in his own right outside of Secret Agent Clank and would be known for associating with these people. This would still put Ratchet at least planetary ranges of power scaling from the Planetizer, but it could go either way. Not only that, but surprisingly enough, Ratchet's partner Clank has the capability to be just as strong, if not stronger than Ratchet. Not only is Clank in possession of his own Rhino 5 upgrade, the Rhino 6 proto-suit, but he also has the ability to transform into Alpha Clank, who is basically a second more buff Ratchet, able to use all of the Lombax's weapons as well as his own. I guess they really mean it when they say Clank's not the sidekick, huh?
I always thought that you were the sidekick.
I thought you said a smart warrior never takes his opponent head on.
That depends on how hard your skull is. I'd say you and I are both rather headstrong.
Normally when it comes to defenses, a character's base durability tends to be equal to their attack potency, as it's common for battles to take place between characters that are able to take as much as they can give. But while this is true for Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank are much more along the lines of glass cannons, having less defensive capabilities than they have offensive. But while these two have never been ripped a new one, they've still been hit pretty hard. In Ratchet and Clank All for One, his arch-nemesis Dr. Nefarious was able to deal the killing blow to Loki Master, a malevolent spirit capable of surviving a planet-level explosion. Seeing as Ratchet and Clank have taken on Dr. Nefarious multiple times in the series, it would make sense to put Ratchet at these planetary levels in regards to durability.
Slowly the racers circled. The smell of fear hung in the air. And the smell of something else, too. I told Jak, lose the sucking!
On the subject of combat speed, both Jak and Ratchet have shown some super speedy feats in their days as heroes. Jak, for instance, has reacted to multiple opponents in his games that have used lasers as projectile weapons. Seeing as most lasers are beams of light that tend to travel at light speed, reacting to one would put Jak at faster than light levels of combat speed. Ratchet, however, has consistently flown spacecrafts that travel from solar system to solar system in the Solana galaxy, making him massively faster than light in reaction time should he be dodging asteroids and other ships while going at those speeds. He's even shown hints of infinite speeds, being able to move and stop time in a Kraken time, though this could have been through Clank's influence in some way, seeing as he's basically Robo-Time Jesus, meaning time manipulation has absolutely no effect on him in the first place, so take that as you will.
Say hello to...
Not the hypersonic brainwave scrambler.
the hypersonic brainwave scrambler!
When it comes to intelligence, I doubt it would be much of a surprise to anyone to hear that Clank is a fucking nerd. Easily the most intelligent of the bunch, but since he's usually strapped to Ratchet's back, he's mostly used to give his advice on whatever situation is at hand. But don't quite count Jak or Ratchet out of the smarts department either. Despite his super extreme radical broad demeanor, Ratchet is actually quite a genius in his own right, able to fix or dismantle just about any mechanical object he can find. And while Jak certainly isn't fixing any precursor artifacts or crafting new guns, he is actually a master strategist in the war rooms, helping the Underground and Freedom League craft plans to defeat the threats facing Haven City. And finally, we have Daxter, who's an idiot. So, yeah. And now that we've gotten through all the stats, it's time to see where everyone ends up. Drum roll, please!
You came! You saw! You got your butt kicked.
Okay, so in terms of stats, Jak and Daxter kinda get wrecked. But of course there may be other options for them to take. Now, going through this video, some of you may have noticed a significant lack of a certain ring-tailed thief with a hooked cane, whose name appears in the title of the video. Believe it or not, this is actually a pretty accurate representation of what Sly Cooper would be doing in this fight. Showing up at the beginning, disappearing for a while, and suddenly crashing the party to do something? See, Sly Cooper is probably the weakest of the three in all aspects. His best offensive and defensive stats come from beating the corpse of a big owl in Sly 2. He's only above bullet level in speed, and is by no means the smartest person in the group. But if there's one thing that Sly has droves of in comparison to his rivals, it's hacks. As Sly has read through the pages of the Thievius Raccoonus, his ancestors have passed down several crazy abilities, including invisibility through shadow power, stopping and slowing time through perpetual slow motion and stun, and even portal creation through silent obliteration. But Jak and Daxter are no strangers to overpowered abilities themselves. In Jak and Daxter, Jak's base form gained multiple eco powers that can really help him out. He can make bombs out of enemies with red eco, increase his speed and reflect small projectiles with blue eco, drain life force and create indestructible shields with green eco, and reverse gravity with his mass inverter gun mod. But by far his best hacks abilities come from his transformations. With Dark Eco, Jak becomes invincible until he turns back, and with Light Eco he can fly, heal, and even slow down time. Not to mention that Daxter can transform into Dark Daxter and become just as strong as Dark Jak, giving him extra help on the battlefield. Now, Jak and Sly certainly have powerful abilities, don't get me wrong, but everything kinda starts to fall apart for them when you go into Ratchet and Clank. Not only do Ratchet and Clank have crazy amount of hacks weaponry, including summoning robots with as many drone weapons, freezing enemies with as many freezing weapons, slowing time with Crank's time bombs and Zony Blaster, Clank basically being a second Ratchet with Alpha Clank, black hole creation through the Rift Ripper and Singularity Grenade, forcing people to dance with the Groovatron,
You know,
and turning people into farm animals with his many transformation weapons. But Ratchet also has a couple of hacks defenses that make it so that you basically can't hit him. First off is the Mega Bomb armor, which stores damage in a pocket hyperspace and transfers it to his Omni Wrench, powering up his already planetary melee attacks. And second is the fact that he is completely unaffected by time manipulation, thanks to Clank being Robo Time Jesus. These are major problems for both Jak and Sly, as some of their biggest advantages in combat come from being able to manipulate time. So not only are Ratchet and Clank superior to Jak, Daxter, and Sly in stats, but there's really not much they can do to them otherwise. The best chance I can see for them beating Ratchet is for Sly to sneak behind them and use silent obliteration to remove him from the battlefield before he can react, and that's it. And the Dark and Light Brigade ain't doing jack squat to these two. Their defenses are temporary, Jak can't reflect large projectiles like missiles that Ratchet has in spades, and he has gravity boots, making the mass inverter practically useless. If you want to get even more into how bad of a matchup this is, Ratchet is a master engineer and has multiple weapons that do all the same things that each of Jak's morph gun mods do, meaning that he can likely see the configuration of Jak's gun and know exactly what it does before Jak even fires it. And for round 2, the unequalized fight, you know what? I'm gonna say it. People are gonna be mad, but I'm gonna say it. Ratchet and Clank solo both Jak and Sly's verses at the same time, no difficulty. You wanna know how that fight would go down? Ratchet could set up some shields, turrets, and drones, give Alpha Clank a Rhino 5 and a Sheepinator to hunt with the Zircon family, sit back in the lawn chair with a Rhino 7, and finally get that G-Cord down while everyone dies. And at the end of it all, Clank would start a taxidermy shop, and Ratchet would make millions off of his new line of precursor vacuums that also come in black. That's just how powerful Ratchet is compared to Jak and Sly. It's really no contest. So that about sums it up. Ratchet and Clank win the day. Thank you guys for watching the video, and shout out to Balrog Blaze, one of my Discord Roundtable members, who helped me a lot with the research into Ratchet and Clank. Make sure you guys like, favorite, comment, and subscribe, and I will call you guys for the next count.